When the PSFS building rose on Market Street just east of City Hall in 1930, it was the first modern building in America designed in the international style, and it would be the last high-rise to be built in the city of Philadelphia for more than 20 years.
And those of us who were young at that time decided that we were going to bring a new spirit to this old and ailing city.
The idea, born in the 1930s, was to build the office center of the future, a series of office towers on land that was then occupied by the Pennsylvania Railroad's Broad Street Station and the Chinese Wall.
The elevated train tracks that went west from City Hall really were occupying what could be prime real estate.
In 1953, ground was finally broken with a blast, and by 1955, the first 20-story tower was open for business. Though federal urban renewal dollars for slum clearance were by then available, the Penn Center project was done privately, with all costs paid by the Pennsylvania Railroad.
We considered it a matter of civic responsibility to complete a development which would best serve the long-term interests of both the city of Philadelphia and our own company.
For the city, it was the removal of a major blighting influence, a wall that separated the city's core from the Benjamin Franklin Parkway and residential neighborhoods to the northwest. For the railroad, it was good for business. All of the office buildings were connected to the train lines underground.
And that really has had long-term positive implications for the city, because 70% of office workers come to work each day taking public transit, and the regional rail lines are a really key part of that.
The subway concourse was like a little village 20 feet below street level, with shops, cafes, and even an ice skating rink in homage to Rockefeller Center. There was also an underground parking garage to alleviate the above-ground shortages of spots.
And you get out of your car, instead of being in a dark, stinking hole, you are greeted by a garden with fountains, flowers, and trees.
Through the 1960s and 70s, demand for office space continued to grow, and more buildings popped up, all by today's standards, short and squat, like Penn Center.
We got small building development because our market wasn't strong enough to take anything more than that.
Until the 1980s, when the economy boomed and the real estate market exploded.
Bill Rouse called a few of us into his office and showed us a model and said, "I'm going to build a building taller than City Hall." And everybody said, you know.
And the big debate was, there's a rule that says you can't do that. Well, there was no rule at all.
Well, I look them in the eye and I say, look, it's only a gentleman's agreement. The issue is whether or not you are a gentleman.
My mail ran like 10-1 against it. I received boxes and boxes of postcards and all kinds of outrageous charges that I was going to destroy the city by permitting this to happen.
The city held all-day public hearings at WHYY studios. Rouse tried to convince people of the merits of the project.
There is more space for the pedestrian. There is more space to shop. There is more respect being paid to human beings. And that I think ultimately the project will succeed for that reason.
We feel that this proposal has very substantial merit.
After a year of debate, ground was broken in May of 1985, and soon the city's skyline was forever changed.
It was a very precious thing, and we sold it out, but that's like your virginity. Once it's all gone.
It was a symbol that we were living under the hat of William Penn. It was a symbol of not realizing our full potential.
It was also a wake-up call. City leaders decided they wanted to rethink the future of Philadelphia and what they wanted this city to be.
You know, the last plan for Center City was done in 1963. It's 1984. A lot has changed.
And so the Planning Commission set to work on a new master plan for Center City. Released in 1988, it maintained the vision of West Market as the office district of the future.
And we spent a lot of time looking at the taxes and jobs that are generated by downtown and trying to get across the idea that Center City is really the economic engine in many ways for the whole city.
2 Liberty Place went up, along with the Mellon Bank Center, Bell Atlantic Building, and Independence Blue Cross Tower. It was a whole new era of high-rise design.
If you were a law firm, if you were a prestigious bank, you wanted a building which either had your name on it or had enough distinctive character to it that people would say, that's where Mellon Bank is.
people from every single neighborhood of the city get job opportunities in the downtown. So the success of the downtown office district has huge impacts.
Architects design buildings more inviting to pedestrians, like Commerce Square.
Tenants love it, the neighborhood loves it, and it's a terrific place. I got married there.
Growth radiated north toward the Ben Franklin Parkway, but failed to push west of 21st Street.
Office demand sort of flattened. So yes, there was some development. There was virtually none in Philadelphia until Sears Center, with the exception of the Smith Klein building over on Vine Street. There was nothing in Philadelphia for 15 years.
It's too bad. When we come into town, the first thing we see is the so-called adult movie theater and a parking lot and an empty store and another empty store, another empty store, and another parking lot. It's just a dreadful way of doing city.
It's taken some time for the city to readjust from a manufacturing and sort of traditional office environment to one that's now maturing into a 24-hour live-work-play city.
We need to continue to build on the energy that's in Center City, Philadelphia. It's much easier for us to attract young, bright people from around the country to jobs that are centered in downtown Philadelphia versus maybe in the suburbs.
The fact that there's a lot of condo development is fantastic for the city. Just putting all the people living in the city, walking around it all the time of day or night.
Clearly, we would benefit as a city if we could find a way to eliminate taxes like a gross receipts tax or business privilege tax.
If we were to grow more office jobs in the downtown, half of those would be held by Philadelphia residents. So cutting taxes grows jobs and grows opportunities.
If we can make progress in that, Philadelphia would truly unlock its potential to be a premier business address.